Hey guys, here's Stu from Stuart Scale Models, and I've noticed that a lot of the guys out there in the YouTube community have been doing sort of videos on how I got into modelling. So I thought I'd do one actually, because it gives me a chance to sort of reminisce on kits I've built and how I've come on and where I'm hoping to go. So I mean, it really stems out from when I was a little nipper, when my father was running an off license. And in case you, for my friends over the pond, you don't know what that is, it's like a liquor store basically. It used to be a chain called Unwin's Off License, which has since was bought up by Threshers and some other independent concerns, so they've long since disappeared. Um, but once he was, when he wasn't actually doing a sort of morning shift and an evening shift in the on the days that the shop was open, he'd spend many a time relaxing in his own little man cave, as it were. I think he had a little room, if I remember rightly, over at Merrow when we were living over there, which is just outside of Guildford in Surrey, where he'd sort of go and retreat and sit and model away to his heart's content to sort of relax, and unwind, which is virtually what I tend to use the hobby for, really, when I'm not working. And I just need a little time out to switch off. I mean, he was mainly into aircraft, really, and unlike most of us, he would prefer to just build it straight from the box. I mean, I know I've got an Uncle John, who lives over in the Wight and over in the Isle of Wight, and he's an avid modeller. Although I think he doesn't do it so much these days because he's had a few health issues. So if you're watching, Uncle John, hi. So there you go. Hope you're keeping well, by the way, and I have to see you soon. As well as my cousins Antonia and Georgia. So thought I'd put a little shout out there, cousins. So there you go. Yeah, so they used to sort of banter and feed off one another, which inspired me dad. And like me, he was very much into reading into military history. In fact, I remember one particular aircraft which I would love to get my hands on. It's the old Tamiya 148th Lancaster, and I think he built all three versions of those because they brought out the Dambuster version, the Blockbuster version with the big tall boy bomb underneath. He built that, and then obviously he did the old S for Sugar, which is still going. And obviously, about 3 years ago, I went and saw the real deal at Hendon, and you just don't get a sort of an impression of the size of the aircraft until you're up standing up, right up close to it. Um, but no, impressive models, I have to say. And what were the? I think the first one he did was the Dam Buster version, obviously with old Guy Gibson up in the cockpit going, so he's firing the engines up to go on the raid. But his most impressive model, which he built, was the Cutty Sark, which I know Frankie Day just recently built with a Revell one. And I've got a feeling it's the same one, Frankie, actually. I just wish I had some photos of it. Fortunately, we lost them when we moved out the flat in Sunningdale when he got ill, because we had to get rid of a heck of a lot of stuff that we'd accumulated over the years. And unfortunately, a lot of the photos went. So it's a shame I haven't really got anything to show you guys, because it was impressive, especially in that big glass case of his. I mean, we ended up giving it to a friend of ours, who unfortunately I'm no longer in contact with. So Lorraine, if you still got it, brilliant. If you have and you're watching this channel, drop me a line and I'll have to get in touch with you again. So yeah, okay. Um, Hopefully she's still looking after it in that case. It's probably still sitting there in the cabinet, I should imagine. But it was a beautiful looking kit. I mean, he initially built it to do it as a promotion for one of his window displays. and the off-licensed Marrow. I did remember an old black and white photograph of it somewhere where he put it in the window, and he built it basically because I don't know if anybody remembers Cutty Salt whiskey. That was basically what he built it for, was to promote the whiskey. So he sort of used his hobby in coalition with his job, you know. And I think on a few occasions he did a few commissions on the last branch he ran at Silwood Road in Sunninghill for an old pilot officer by the name of Deacon Elliott. Now, if anybody has seen a photograph of a Spitfire 5B with the initial RNN, it's an old colour photograph. That was the aircraft that he flew, and my dad actually built that Mark V Spitfire for him on a sort of a base as though it was on a dispersal pan. Looked fantastic. In fact, Deacon Elliott was so happy with it, he gave us a load of premium bonds as a way of thanking us. So yeah. And then he did another one on a swordfish for another old customer who used to fly them off the old carriers, Formidable. And he built that from an old snare kit which had floats, and he actually, you ain't gonna believe this, he actually scratch built the undercarriage for it to be a standard one on an aircraft carrier. You know, that was just impressive, and very inspiring. And I think he also did one or two, I think, if I remember serves me, I may be wrong, and I'm sure my brother Neil might remind me on this, or even my mother Janet Parfitt. He did a commission for a customer with the Tamiya 1350 of Bismarck, if I remember he serves. Which is going back quite a few years, and my memory's a little bit hazy as a kid. And then what I can remember is it did look impressive. And one time he did another, I think it was, can't remember the name of the kit, but it was quite a large model of the old Fletcher class destroyer. And I remember when he was building that, because I'd come home from school and he always say, what do you think of the weathering I've done on that? You know, with the old rust streaks he used to do on the deck, and it was all by brush. You know, he didn't use airbrushes or anything like that. Although my cousin Paul Avery used to do a lot of armour builds. I don't know if he's still doing it, Paul, but I don't know if he gets the time these days. But well, you know, I saw one or two of his builds. I think he did a Williams FW 14 of Nigel Mansell's once, which was sitting in his hall. That was impressive, Paul, I have to say. I don't know if you've still got it, but oh, that was nice. I do remember that. But yeah. So it sort of runs in the family on my father's side, the artistic streak, if you know what I mean. And obviously I've got my uncle on my mother's side, that's John Mead. He tends to, or he did build kit straight from the box, mainly 148s, you know. And I remember he used to keep them up in his loft at a house that they used to live in, a bungalow, along with his old flying jacket, because he used to work as an engineer for 112 Squadron on Sunderlands in the 50s. And yeah, he had the trauma of actually seeing his CO get killed in one. Unfortunately, when it toppled over and it was trying to take off, I think it stalled or something, toppled over, and they all got drowned. So yeah, I think that was right. Correct me if I'm wrong, old John. But, yeah, I think that's what Mum told me anyway. Anyway, as I say, I think from that I got inspired into kit building. I do remember one time when we were living at Guildford, I think he helped me build the old Revell 148th Flying Tigers P40B. Admittedly, we ended up playing with it and it got broken, but that's really what I think that's the first kit I can remember I ever built. And then over the years I got into it more. I mainly kept to 172nd with the old Airfix kits, and even when I was going to school we used to go down a little post office and buy the old Revell boxings of the Hurricane, because I used to collect the old Commando comics, and I remember it was a camouflage one, Mark one, and I used to convert into a 2 you know, painted it all black, like a Night Fighter version, you know. And yeah, I kept up the hobby throughout then, and obviously in the early years when I was working and left school. And one time I remember my dad gave me the old Monogram DC3 Skytrain, you know, the one where you had the troops, etc. Fans just always gardeners just turned up, sorry. I got distracted then. And yeah, that was my first experience of building a 1/48th kit. But what I used to love with those Monogram kits, and I don't know if you still get them now, is the leaflet on the dioramas that Shepherd Payne used to build. Wow, they are something else, and I would love to get the book on his builds. I know they brought one out, and I would love to get hold of that, but it's just so expensive. I'll probably treat myself to it at Christmas, I expect. And I know it's an inspiration to Mike Cohen, who's a fellow modeller of mine and a friend of mine. He was a great inspiration to him. Although sadly we lost Shep around about 2 or 3 years ago. Excuse the lawnmower, I've got the gardener out the front there at the moment. He's doing the housemate's lawn. But hang on, I think I'll just quickly shut the window for a minute, bear with us. There we go. Sorry about that, guys. I didn't want you to get drowned out by the sound of the lawnmower. So there you go. Anyway, how are we doing on time? Let me see. Oh, 12 minutes in. No, we're fine. Oh, that's good. Anyway, where was I? Oh, yes, about Shep Payne. It was from that. I mean, the one thing that sticks in my mind is that one of the B-17G, and you know, where it's come back after a raid, and it's had a belly landing, and it's all shot up, and the detail he put in there with the engine all shot up and burnt away, and the undercarriage collapsed, and bullet holes in the tail, etc. And the way he posed all the figures, and the whole thing was just absolutely awesome, you know. And really, I mean, this is why I've been getting into vignettes and dioramas, really, is to sort of, it's, you know, it's that creativity that you sort of get inspired and things pop into your head, and you've got resources these days online, books. Well, books are a big part of my inspiration, to be honest with you. And as I said in all my videos, I've just been using the book I bought on Rogue One for, you know, the vignette, as it were, you know, to get it near that sort of level that I feel happy with, you know. So I would just want to thank everybody for their positive feedback as well. So thanks, guys, it really means a lot. So, you know, hoping to do the same with Tiger One build as well. But anyway, I'm getting off the beaten track here. But as I was saying, yeah, and the one, the B-29 in Ola Gay did, where he lit all the you know, the lamps, and up where they're loading Fat Boy into the bomb bay. You know, wow, awesome, absolutely bloody awesome. I mean, you know, we didn't have the luxury that we've got now of the internet, and it was at a time when the hobby, unfortunately, sadly, was in decline, and as we all know, a lot of the old model shops have disappeared now, which is sad. I mean, we used to have one up the road here with Jackson's Toy Shop in Ascot High Street. So if anybody remembers that, I'd always go in there, and there was a little corner at the back where they had stacks of models, Frog, Revell, Italeri, Airfix, Snare, you name it, it was there. Monogram, etc. But as I say, I mean, again, I used to mainly just brush paint with Umbro enamels, and I did build I think a B17 one time. I think it was an F. Weathered it all up with a brush and everything. I was quite pleased with that actually. I think it was the old Monogram kit which I recently got with the Revell boxing of the Memphis Belle. Although unfortunately I've sold that one on now. I'll probably get one back in the future, who knows. Yeah, that's really when I got into 148th aircraft. But my recollection of my first armour build was when I was living at the old flat in Silwood Rose. Was the old Saipan Italeri Sherman, which I built. And I did that all by brush with the weathering and everything. I didn't get it finished because obviously me and my father had to vacate the premises because he got ill, and then I neglected the hobby for a few years, although the last build I started getting into was an old Airfix 1600 at HMS Belfast at the old place I was living, which I've no doubt you've seen the old photographs, this great big mansion I was living in. And it was towards the end of my time there that I actually started getting back into the hobby, although I did live at a temporary address which my rather nasty landlady ended up breaking it. So needless to say I wasn't best part pleased with that, but hey, there you go. Needless to say we stayed there a week and I moved out. Went back again until the house was sold, and then I ended up here, you know. But then again I neglected it for a while again because I just didn't have any space really. Didn't get the time. Other things came into my life like girlfriends, etc., you know, and other things were going on, and it was shortly after I moved here that I had a minor heart attack, and whilst I was convalescing I became aware of all you guys on YouTube, and then started getting a bug for the hobby again, and thought, right, well, I'm going to have another go at an armoured kit. And hang on, if I get it down here, it's sitting at the back here, I think you can see it just on the back shelf here. I'll bring it down. What was this one? Was the old Tamiya Panzer IV House D, and that was my first build back into the hobby, and it was the first time I ever used an airbrush as well. Yeah, admittedly I still use the, well, I did use enamels on this, believe it or not. No wonder it didn't last long with the airbrush. It got perished the seals. But, you know, I was happy with the way it came up, and then I built the old Chieftain, which was my first ever group build entry with Gill's Starring Syndicate Community Tank group build, and didn't look back since, you know. It's now become a sort of major part of my life, really. Although I don't get back much into aircraft, I do plan on doing it, although I've bought loads of aircraft. Haven't built any of them yet, but obviously that's going to change once I do this little tribute build to my dad with the Hawker Hunter, which I'm hoping to get started on this week. So yeah, that'd be nice to get back on such a lovely subject too. And sadly there's none of them flying in this country because unfortunately there's nobody qualified to fly a Hunter. And what with the new air show rules, obviously a lot of them are being sold off to overseas countries now, which is sad because it would be lovely to see the old Hunter back in the skies again. So yeah, I'll be getting on with that. But obviously my favourite armour is the old Tiger. And again, this was my first Tiger really. Unfortunately I've knocked the aerial off, but hey. Which was the old Mike Cohen tribute build with ISM, which we did I think about a couple of years ago. So, and I've built another one since then. And that was my first experience of cross kitting as well. So yeah. And it's just gone on from strength to strength, and then obviously I was encouraged by one of the guys on YouTube to basically put in to get a channel set up, and I haven't looked back since really, guys, you know. But as I say, it helps me relax. It helps me unwind from the all day everyday stresses at work, and I've made a lot of friends through the hobby as well. I mean, I've met a few of them now on a more personal level at Telford. People such as Phil Flory, Paul Bretland, Lee Larholt, Dan Scattergood, Ivan from Northern Scale Modeller, and I was lucky enough last year to be Guido Hop, who obviously we've been friends on the internet but met personally this time. Len Sparvick from Chancellor North Wales, lovely guy. And who else did I meet? Oh yeah, Michael Booth from Model Art 63, lovely lad, very talented modeller. And a few more I care to mention. Well, Mark only was the year before. Unfortunately, Mark couldn't make it last year. He was on the Sunday and I was on the Saturday, so we missed each other. Anyway, sadly this year I'm not going to be able to go, guys. So unfortunately, it's just the way life is. So I'm not going to be there, unfortunately. But next year, definitely. Unless my circumstances should change, I might be there, but I can't see it this year, sadly. So I hope you all have a fantastic time there this year. I will be watching the videos, etc., but I'm not going to be able to go, unfortunately, because my finances are just outruling it this year. What with the change over the store, I've got new uniform I've got to fork out on, and obviously after that you've got to save up for Christmas, so it's just not going to be on the agenda this year, sadly. Although I might try and get to one or two other model shows, we'll see. And also I had the joy of meeting the Mighty Jingles this year, so that was great meeting you. I think I've forgotten his name. I think it's Ron Jingles, I'm not sure. So it was great meeting you, mate, and I'll still watch the old videos and a good old chuckle then, and hopefully we'll meet up at Tank Fest next year if I get to go, but we'll see. But as I say, I've befriended a lot of friends here, Gil Mondragon and all the guys over in the States, and the late Chris Marston, who we sadly lost only the other month. I do remember our conversations, and they were, he was such a funny guy, he really was. Some of the random conversations he'd come out with, but he's going to be missed. He's going to be missed a great deal, to be honest with you. He had such a colourful personality, that guy, and I'm going to miss him. But there you go. Anyway, I've waffled on for the best part of 22 minutes. I'm going to finish now. But as I say, I'm going to carry on with the hobby. I love it with a vengeance. I soak it up like a sponge, and what with the help of the internet, it's just spread the hobby more, and I'm glad to see that we've got a lot more youngsters coming into the hobby, which is encouraging. Instead of sitting there in front of their computers playing computer games all day, this is really something where they're getting their hands on, they're being creative, and they're learning at the same time about the history behind the subject. And if it hadn't been for all those guys making their sacrifices in both world wars and wars since, I would not be sitting here having this conversation with you today. And that is the main reason I do this hobby, is also to remember them. And that is something we should never forget. Anyway, I've waffled on enough now. I'm going to get on with this tiger, and then possibly get on with the hunter. Unfortunately, the Warren Blanche tribute Buddy Bill's on a bit of a back burner for the moment, because I'm going to get these two builds out of the way, and then I may go back onto that. And as I say, I've got a good year with that one, so it'll get done when it gets done. But as I say, I'm itching to get back on the workbench now, so in the meantime, get kit crazy, happy modelling, take care, and as Gil says, ignore the drama queens, just goddamn build a model, because we don't need to do that. The only thing I will say about that side of the hobby is that it's getting less and less now, which I'm pleased to see. Because at a time it was getting ugly, but I'm glad to see that it's getting less and less, so long may it continue. Anyway, guys, take care, get kit crazy, happy modelling, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye for now.